Joining us now is Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson. Always a pleasure to have you, Speaker Johnson. And I want to start here with the border and the about face of Kamala Harris. And Kamala Harris tries to say, I was for this bipartisan immigration deal that contained border wall funding. But Lankford, who negotiated that bill, had this to say. This is an Axios. Lankford said he was surprised with Harris's full embrace of the border bill this year. He told Axios that Harris wasn't involved in the months-long negotiations. We never saw any vice president staff here. She was a Johnny-come-never. The reason I bring this up to you is because you've been around President Biden. I don't know if you've met with Vice President Harris on this issue, but in your meetings with the White House, have you felt a keen readiness to go build Trump's wall like what they're saying now?
Of course not. Absolutely not. Kamala Harris is running from her record and lying to the American people. The truth is, and we have the tape, your opening monologue was a fantastic recitation of a lot of this. She is clearly on record a lifelong opponent to President Trump's ideas on the border. She called the wall un-American. She mocked it as a waste of money. And she has been the border czar. Let's not forget, she's been in charge of the open border. She helped engineer it. So to come forward now and try to pretend as though she somehow is now for border security is laughable. If she was, Kayleigh, she should put H.R. 2 in front of the Senate. She should tell Chuck Schumer that he should bring that bill up for a vote immediately. We could secure the border, and they could use executive authority to do it. But that is not her agenda, and she's lying to the people right now.
Yeah, she could do that immediately. We have another clip I want to play for you. This is Kamala Harris in her interview this evening, and here's what she says about her cabinet.
Will you appoint a Republican to your cabinet?
Yes, I would. I have spent my career inviting diversity of opinion. I think it's important to have people at the table when some of the most important decisions are being made that have different views, different experiences. And I think it would be to the benefit of the American public to have a member of my cabinet who was a Republican.
So she says she wants Republicans in her cabinet. She loves diversity of views. I mean, has Kamala brought you into the West Wing and asked about your conservative viewpoint or any of your colleagues?
No, of course not. She's on the far opposite end of the spectrum. Kamala Harris has a long record in public service. She was in the Senate. She has been vice president. Everyone knows where she stands. She's a San Francisco radical, a big government socialist. She has been on record on the opposite side of every issue of where the American people are. You pointed out her positions on the border, the economy. I mean, things like banning fracking and banning gas-powered vehicles. She was a co-sponsor of legislation to end trucks and cars as we know them. I mean, that's her values. That's who she is. And they're trying to run a campaign right now based on fantasy instead of the facts. So our job is to make sure that the people know it. And the American media needs to do its job and ask tough questions. But, of course, she's not submitting for any of those, Kayleigh. She's hiding. She's trying to run a campaign in a basement like her mentor Joe Biden did. And I don't think it's going to work. I think the people see right through this.
Yeah, except the teleprompter is now the basement, it seems. Speaker Johnson, the presidential race is obviously hugely important, but so too is the House. We just have a 3-member majority at the moment. And I know you've been traveling the country, raising money, doing everything you can to expand that majority. Here's the Real Clear Politics polling average. It is neck and neck on the generic ballot. You see it here. Democrats 46.5, Republicans 45.8. I mean, essentially a tie. What are you seeing when you cross the country?
I'm seeing real energy on the ground, Kayleigh. I am very bullish about November. We're excited and we believe we're going to win. And the reason is because we have extraordinary candidates that we recruited that are out there in the field running great races. I've been so far, I've done campaign events in 198 cities and 39 states. As of today, we have many more to go. And it doesn't matter whether we're in Montana down to Florida, from Maine to California. I've been in all the states. And it's the same thing. Kayleigh, people are so fed up about the cost of living and the rising crime rates and the wide open border and the catastrophe that's been. They're worried about instability on the world stage. And they realize that our adversaries, Russia, China, Iran, North Korea, are looking at this moment as an opportunity. We have to have strong principled leadership again. Donald Trump will provide that in the White House, and we can win, and we will win. The House and the Senate. We're going to grow the House majority. I'm absolutely convinced of it.
Well, that's a big prediction. You know, we'll see what happens in November, and it's good to hear about that energy across the country. You mentioned cost of living. This is Kamala Harris's co-interviewer, also known as her running mate, Tim Walz, on that very point.
As vice president, she cast the deciding vote on the American Rescue Plan, which helped keep workers on the job. Look, I'll keep saying it. Words are cheap. Actions is all you should care about. Make sure you're counting on what was delivered.
So this was yesterday. The American Rescue Plan, he's bragging about that tie-breaking vote, but it is a fact that there was 1.4% inflation, and 1 month after the American Rescue Plan, it shot up above 4%. Do you think bragging about that vote is something that's going to resonate with the voters you're talking to?
It's not. They're absolutely tone deaf, and this is part of the fantasy campaign that they're running. We have to have record over rhetoric, and he's right. Words don't matter, actions do. Look at what Kamala Harris has done. Look at what Tim Walz has done. I was in Minneapolis over the weekend. On Saturday, we had a press conference out in front of the precinct that had burned, and he allowed Minneapolis to burn. These people have dangerous policies. They will dramatically harm the country. This is a serious election, and everybody has to get involved.
No doubt. House Speaker Mike Johnson, thank you very much, as always.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.